Okay, so I'm in a really weird mood today, so you're just going to have to bear with me. I was unaware that there was another Frater X on YouTube, and that's fine. I mean, it was a fictitious name anyway. I'm not going to give out my true magical name or motto. There's some things you just don't do. And so I picked Frater X for its simplicity and for its obvious play on wanting to remain anonymous. And the pronunciation of Frater over Frater, it's not that important. It's tomato tomata. It rhymed with father. It sounded better to me. And I'm going to go with what resonates with me more. Just as Crowley, I know that most people pronounce it Crowley. Doesn't really matter. Whatever resonates with you more. Now, if you're polarized, that'll probably bother you, as it should. Doesn't take much to irritate and move a polarized person. So I'm changing the name from Frater X to Frater Xavier. It's just an expansion upon the X. Because I don't want people to mistake me for the other guy. He's teaching about the Freemasons and that's fine. But that's so far removed from what I'm doing that I don't want people to mistakenly associate me with that. Not all knowledge is practical. And I'm trying to give you some practical knowledge that you can use. I mean, learning the history of the Freemasons and the Illuminati is great and all, but at the end of the day, it's not really going to do much for you. I mean, how are you going to put any of that to use? And understand, I'm not out to bash anyone, or else I'd have to bash everyone. Because everybody's doing this. Everybody's worried about what everybody else is doing, instead of worrying about themselves. You got a whole lot of people out there trying to save the world, or save their country. And yet, have they saved their city? Have they saved their town? Have they saved the people in their neighborhood? Have they saved those on their street? Have they saved even one single one of their neighbors? Have they saved themselves? Because all growth expands outward. You got people trying to water the leaves instead of watering the roots. I mean, worrying about what everyone else is doing without getting your own house in order first is just swimming against the current, and you're not going to get very far doing that. Everybody says they want truth, but they don't want truth. Polarized people don't want truth. They want validation. Anything to verify the truth as they see it from their own limited polarized perspective. And if it validates it, then they will be attracted to that. And if it doesn't, they will be repelled by that. It's so simple. I mean, it should be. As I said from the beginning, not everyone's meant to have this knowledge. So I will deliberately throw in things to test and weed out those who are not going to make it anyway. Because if you can't get the simple concept of the law of polarity down, then you're screwed. Nothing else is going to matter. I mean, there's a certain wisdom that comes along with being depolarized. Now, I can give you the keys to the car, but if you don't understand the rules of the road, or can tell the difference between the traffic signals of red meaning stop and green meaning go, eventually you're going to crash. And this is why I keep going on and on about it. I don't mean to sound like a broken record here, but I need to make sure that you have everything required before you start the car. But I really don't have to do too much because being depolarized to a polarized person is quite boring. There's nothing really there to move them one way or the other from a centered middle position. So yes, I am also aware that these lessons will come across as extremely boring to those who are polarized. And this is about as ranting as I get. And I do the best with what I got because, truth be known, I don't have any experience teaching people this stuff. As a solitary practitioner, I don't talk about magic. I don't talk about these things with other people. And so I have to be in a balanced, depolarized state so that my subconscious can help guide me through all this. I may know more than most on this topic, and certainly more than anyone I know personally, but I don't know it all. But I don't have to know it all, because I know this, the model that I'd given you at the end of the last video. As I'm teaching, I'm also learning, because now I'm focused on what I need to put out there, and other things will start popping into my mind, because I have a connection with the subconscious, who has a connection with all the data in the collective unconscious. So see, I could be working on how to present this model that was initially based on Bob Proctor's model of the subconscious and the conscious mind. But then all of a sudden, the tarot card, the Lovers, will pop into my head, the actual image. And I know well enough to know that that's not a coincidence, that I'm being shown something. That's the language of the subconscious. It is telling me, pay attention to this, check this out. And then it will start walking me through it and showing me what I need to see. And this is what it's like. And pardon the expression, but it's really fucking cool. I mean, it is just mind-blowing, And that's the point. We don't have to know everything, because we're always learning. There's always more to learn. You can study a tarot card every day, and I do. I study one tarot card every day. I meditate on it. And new layers of understanding will be revealed to me. A symbol just doesn't mean one thing, people. People think, oh, well, this symbol means this, and this symbol means that. Well, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, a symbol is worth 1,000 pictures. They have layers upon layers of meanings condensed into them. And probably because they're ascribed to the collective unconscious, where all the data is stored. You've had all these people put all these different meanings into the same symbol. And so, yeah, it doesn't mean just one thing. It can mean this, and it can mean that, and it can mean the other thing. And your subconscious is linked up with that. So if you have an effective means of communication between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, it will keep showing you things. It will keep giving you new meanings and answers to the questions that you're pondering. And this is the way it works. And I'd say I'm sorry for demystifying all this for you, but I think that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. Now, it is a bit of a trick gaining access to the knowledge, because the conscious mind is projective and the subconscious is receptive. So in order for the conscious mind to get what the subconscious is trying to tell it, it needs to learn to shut up and listen. Which takes time, training, and discipline. You have to train to do this. And part of that training is becoming depolarized. See, everything from the very first lesson that I've given on is all coming together for this, to learn how to do this. I don't care what kind of magic you're doing. If you're doing chaos magic, working with sigils, well, you have to put those sigils into the subconscious, do you not? And then get the conscious mind out of the way. Wicca, the moon, the goddess, what do you think the moon is? It's the subconscious. The sun is the conscious mind. The moon is the subconscious mind. The high priestess, tarot card. She sits on the throne between the two pillars. She's depolarized herself, and now she's in the middle. All the knowledge of the subconscious will now be laid at her feet and serve her. The moon now serves her. In Kabbalah, they talk about how the conscious self cannot directly view the divine fire above, but can only catch glimpses of it in the pool of water below. That pool of water is the subconscious. All the reflections are there. This is what it means. In the Lover's Tarot card, the man is looking at the woman, and the woman is looking up at the angel. The angel is looking down at both of them. But because the man is not looking directly up at the angel, he has no direct line of communication with it. Now the woman's eyes are fixed on the angel and not looking directly at the man. But they're on the same playing level. They're standing on the same ground. So she could still shout over what she sees to the man, if you just shut up and listen. And I mean, how do you think I came into this knowledge? This is how it was given to me through this model. I didn't read this in any book. Nobody told me this stuff. I got it directly from the source. I mean, everything I'm telling you about this card was put into my head in an instant. Boom. It's just there. And I can explain everything in this card as to how it relates to this now. And there's more. It keeps coming. I don't think I'm going to have enough time to get to it in this video. But there's even more layers to this. The Garden of Eden. They're standing in the Garden of Creation. And when I quoted the Kabbalion on the law of gender, and it stated that no creation was possible, mental, physical, or spiritual, without this principle. It's in the freaking card. You know, I don't mind sharing this knowledge freely, because it's not really even mine. It's, from the source. And if I'm not charging for it, then you may not charge for it either. I don't care if you share it, but you may not charge for it. Knowledge isn't the only thing that comes from the source. And the fact that I'm even bringing it up means that somebody either is or will be thinking about doing just that. So don't. And if you actually took the time to learn and utilize this, there wouldn't be any reason for you to do that. Because with this, you literally have the keys to the vehicle and the kingdom in your hands. See you next time.